Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
Oh, it smells nice.
Yep, guess we're going through the French Quarter. Now, New Orleans was founded back in 1718 by a man named Jean Fattier. There was swamplands. Over time, we dug canals to be able to help drain the swamps off to be able to expand the city. That's why today most of the city of New Orleans is about 6 feet below sea level. And New Orleans was named after Philippe. Now, the city was founded by the French back in 1718, but they at 1850. Now, the Mississippi River is just 1 block over to the right. There is a nice little park along the riverfront, so while you're in town, you may want to take a nice little stroll along there. Maybe watch some of the ships go by. You know, let's see if I can even make it through here. Coming up here on the left, we're just past this tree. We're going to see a statue of our founding father, Bienville, the Jesuit priest who accompanied him over here, right there on the left. Now, we are not going to see a lot of green space here in the French Quarter. That's because most of the green space is in the middle of each one of these buildings. You know, in the center, they do have beautiful courtyards. So as you're walking around the French Quarter, peek through some of those gated doorways. You're going to see those beautiful courtyards there in the center. And that was considered to be...
Yeah, I didn't get to see that kind of one.
Now, the French Quarter did not flood during Hurricane Katrina because this is actually the highest ground in the city. And on average, the French Quarter is almost 8 feet above sea level. So it is one of the few areas that did not flood during that storm. French Quarter, and it's about 3 blocks over to the left. But really, everything on the river side of Bourbon Street, which we're in right now, is going to be more of your populated area where you find a lot of the clubs. The square coming up here on the left. This was named Jackson Square in 1851 after the statue of Andrew Jackson was dedicated to the city. You know, Andrew Jackson is the defender of New Orleans after winning the Battle of New Orleans in 1815. And you're going to see his statue coming up here to the left in the center. But just behind Jackson Square is the St. Louis Cathedral, which is actually the third church building on that site. That particular building was built in 1795. It's one of the oldest Roman Catholic cathedrals in the country, and it does offer mass and tours daily. But like I said, this is the heart of the French Quarter here. Everything in the French Quarter is probably within about 6 blocks of this area here. Now, if we look coming up here on the right, we're going to see this green and white striped awning. And that is Cafe. Try and leave the city without getting those beignets. You know, they're going to send you right back. So be sure and get them before you leave. And if you don't know what a beignet is, it's kind of like a donut. It's square. Proudly. Let everybody know you had your beignets. Now, Cafe Du Monde right there behind us is not the only cafe in the city that has the beignets. There's some on Canal Street. They're actually all over the place. Coming up here in front of us in the middle of the street, there's a beautiful gold statue of a lady on a horse holding a flag. That is Miss Joan of Arc. She is the Maid of New Orleans. Now, the tile-like walls that we're going to see coming up here on the left are new since Katrina. It used to be all open. Now it's partially closed in. But that's where most of the food vendors are up in this area. And then coming up here on the left, we are going to see the flea market of the week. It's a very popular place to go shopping. You can always get some great souvenirs out there, that's for sure. Now, if we look over here to the right, we're going to see this cement wall. That's what we call a flood wall. And we have those all around the city. During Katrina, 5 of those flood walls collapsed, causing 80% of the city to flood. Now, these are not quite as high as some of the others because this is the highest ground in the city. Most of the other ones are at least twice as high. But the opening that we're going to see coming up here to the right is what we call a floodgate. That has to be manually closed when a hurricane approaches. We do have 182 gates throughout the flood wall. The stage is set up over there to the left. Now, they have Frenchman Street blocked off, which is just a block over to the left. If you've been down to Bourbon Street, you're going to notice it's become very back to France. Fell in love with the dice game, came back and introduced hazards to the city of New Orleans. Hazards was this dice game where they would just squat on the side of the street, throw the dice on the ground. Well, the Americans would watch the French guys play this game, and they thought they looked like toads squatting on the side of the street, so they started to call the game crapaud. Crapaud is a French word meaning toad. Eventually, the Americans started to play the game, and the game of crapaud was changed to craps. That's actually how craps got its name. But the Barony really is a very charming little neighborhood. It is very quaint and very old. But you will notice the different types of architecture as we're driving around the city throughout the different neighborhoods. Katrina, that hit August 29th, 2005. So it's been over 19 years now. Now, most of the floodwaters from Katrina did not come from the Mississippi River. What actually happened was, as the hurricane came inland, it forced the waters from the Gulf of Mexico into Lake Pontchartrain. Pressure of the water causing 5 of those flood walls to collapse, and then causing 80% of the city to flood. Now, the Ninth Ward is not the only area that was affected by Katrina. That's what I think most people saw on television through the end of November. But the 2 most active months are usually August and September. But it gets so hot down here during those months. Now, we are almost praying for a tropical storm. Hurricane, something to bring a little extra breeze through here. But like I said, you never know what you're going to get.
It's changed a lot. 4.5 years since we got your mountain, maybe.
Now, this neighborhood that we're in right now, this is what we call Faubourg Travail. Treme is known as the oldest African-American neighborhood here in the country, and it's named after Claude Treme. Now, he came over here from France back in 1783 and acquired all this land up in here. But he never did anything with the land because he was actually a hat maker by trade. He married into a good bit of money. But eventually the land was divided up, sold off piece by piece. But it was sold mostly to free people of color. Now, you know, free people of color owned a great deal of real estate here in the city of New Orleans back in 1812. And all that was way before the Civil War. So it was a bit of a different story here in New Orleans than it was in the rest of the South. But you know, if we were to take off up and down all these little side streets, now we would see more of those shotgun and double shotgun houses. Now you do see those. Now this is Interstate 10 right here. But as we go underneath the interstate, if you look underneath on both sides, and I think maybe more so here to the left, we're going to see some painted columns. You know, those are all going to be painted for Black history here in the city. That was an art project started by the New Orleans African American Museum, which is open, by the way. It's probably about 7 blocks or so over to the left, but it is on a very narrow street. You're going to notice that most of the streets in the French Quarter and closer. He picked up a gun and shot it. Now, he wasn't shooting at anybody. He was just a curious little boy doing something he probably knew he should not have been doing. Well, he got caught. And he was sent to a reform school for a while. Now, that's actually where he really fell in love with music. Now, after he got out of there, he did spend quite a few years playing music in some of the brothels around the city back then. But as he grew older, he did move away. And all I can really say after that, though, is the rest is history. But that's actually how most of the great jazz musicians got their starts, by playing in brothels in the early days, because they were legal down here back then. Not so much anymore, though. Now look at all the colorful houses there on the left. See all these colorful houses that you're going to see around town? You know, those were introduced to us by some of our Haitian immigrants. But overall, you're going to notice that the houses have been a little bit more colorful on this side of the city. Now, the brick building here on the left, this is one of the old John McDonough schools. John McDonough, he was a wealthy businessman here in New Orleans. He was never married, never had any children. But before he died, he purchased a good bit of land. One of those pieces of property that he purchased was a plantation, and he donated that to the city of New Orleans for the children of New Orleans, and that's what City Park is today. Now, after his death in 1850, the rest of his wealth was split between 2 separate cities. Baltimore, where he was originally born and raised, and they built one large private school, named it McDonough. Now, New Orleans got the other half of his wealth and built 35 public schools, named them all John McDonough. Now, you just can't say you went to John McDonough school. You usually had to say what number with it, like John McDonough number 17. Now, all he asked was to be remembered, and May 7th is John McDonough Day here in New Orleans. It's not a major holiday, though. The kids still have to go to school that day. Now, we actually just left Treme, and we are now inside the Bayou St. John neighborhood.
Wow.
The last weekend in April, the first weekend in May. Many big name artists come down every year for Jazz Festival. It's always a good time. It's always a really good time, and it's just right around the corner. But we have probably at least 50 festivals here in the city every year. Not all of them are large. Now, some of them are pretty small, but anything for a party down here. aerial that you're going to see out here. And basically what it is a family has a tomb built. But in these tombs, the bottom section is kind of like a pit. It's going to go down quite a few feet down in the ground, and it is lined with brick and concrete. It's called a caveau. But in the middle of this tomb, there's a shelf. So when a family member dies, they open up the tomb, they slide the coffin in on top of the shelf.
Wow, it's quite interesting. It's in 1993. Wow. I guess I need to read more into the cemetery and why it was created the way it was. Although the tour guide did explain it a bit, but there's still so much more story. Ooh. This one is like a house. I guess the people in New Orleans put a lot of thought and care in burying and graves. I don't know. Crazy. I personally wouldn't, but
You look over here to the right, we're going to see another brick building. This one is going to be the New Orleans Museum of Art. That was founded back in 1911 by Isaac Delgado. And in there, there's over 500 pieces of art on display in there. Here goes. We have about 6 months of long, hot summer. Hot and very humid. Here, maybe once every 20 years, we may see some snow flurries. And when we do, everything shuts down because we all have to get out and see it. Actually, if we want to see snow, we have to take a drive to go see it. Filling company, I'm going to let them know I'm here. Hopefully they heard me.
How about you? Where are you from?
Jamaica.
Oh!
Yes. Have you been?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, no. I smell it.
Yeah, right? That's
Ooh.
Here's the bourbon. But right through these double doors, guys. Well,
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, that's
Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night.
check it out.
You guys should.
Bucket list for sure.
Oh, that's good.
At some point, I would love to go to Japan as well.
Yeah.
You should.
One of my older cousins lives in Tokyo with his wife.
Yeah.
He teaches English there.
Oh.
So
Thank you very much. I'll do something like that for you one time.
I do want me in a seafood boil.
Thank you to everybody that's up here on the top with us, y'all. Yes, indeed. Everybody that's down below down there, too. Everybody under the oak tree over there, jamming with us over there on that side.
The sounds coming from Mr. Gerard Delacour. Got it cookie.
Check on the website.
Gerard Delacour.
Wow. Are you guys enjoying the sun?
Yes. I probably need a little more sunscreen on that.
I have none. No, that's that.
I have 2 different bottles. I just probably need to put a little more on right now. Because before we even came out here, I got a tiny little sunburn right here on my shoulder. And I was like, I feel it right now.
Aww.
But it's okay. That's what I do.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna be burnt. I'm gonna be burnt, but it's okay. I'm used to it. I'm coming from New York.
Okay. I didn't know that's a good one.
Got the chef on stage today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I loved it.
The I Love Nudes is still gonna get me every time. Dip flop and bubble tea.
Yes.
I do want to check that out.
Phenomenon, stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me.
tricks to play. Thank you.
Any Vibes Cartel fans? Any Caribbean people out there? Any Jamaicans in there?
I'm not singing that song. over here.